Welcome to Women, Men, and Relationships. I'm JJ Flizanes, your host. Thank you for downloading today's show. Welcome everyone to the show today and to the video. We're recording this, Adam and I, because we just can't get enough of each other. And we definitely can't just do it on an audio. We have to do it on a video. And now that I have a wider screen, I've decided to put a little paraphernalia up about my signage. So if you're listening to this on the podcast, come on over to jjflizanes.tv and check out the video. And pretty soon, I think I've heard I'm going to be on the back of Adam's wall too. So that will be nice to actually identify myself next time we have a conversation. So today's show, we're going to talk about the 7 hacks for sustainable weight loss. Because as you all know, weight loss is ultimately not hard. You can lose weight doing many things, but our goal is not for you to just lose weight. It's for you to keep it off and do it in a healthy way. So Adam's story, most of you already know if you've been listening to the show for a while. Adam lost over 100 pounds and has sustained it for many years. He teaches other people how to do it. His story has been on at least 2 or 3 shows. And so I'm going to recommend you go back and listen to those. But Adam, for those that are new, maybe they haven't watched a video before or they haven't heard the show, can you give us the brief version of your story?
Yeah. Thanks, JJ. And thank you for having me on the show for the 12th time. It's it's a real treat. No, we just love, mixing our superpowers together. So yes, I'm Adam Schaeuble, AKA the PhD, the previously heavy dude from the Million Pound Mission podcast. And basically 12 years ago, I weighed 327 pounds. I decided to reprogram my mind and rehabilitate my lifestyle. I went on a 100-pound transformation journey. Then I helped my hometown lose 35,000 pounds by implementing the things that I implemented to change my life. And now I'm on a 1 million pound mission where we're out there grabbing whoever we can out there in podcast land and helping people get healthy and transform their lives.
Beautiful. Thank you. So let's start with number 1. What do you think for you is the most important thing to sustain weight loss and be really clear about so that you don't bounce, up and down, yo-yo?
Yeah, to me, it all starts with the things that tend to mess us up. So thinking about, I call them transformation danger zones. If you have yo-yoed in the past, what is causing that yo-yo? And it's usually not the diet or the exercise program. It's usually something like stress, nighttime eating, vacations, the holiday season. Like what's that event that causes you to backslide? So being able to identify that, analyze it, and prepare in advance for that, at least 28 days in advance, kind of scan out in front and say, what are the things that could potentially throw me off track? I'm going to have at least one action step in my pocket ready to go so that I can have a fighting chance to compete against that danger zone.
Can I add to that I think you need more than one strategy? I think someone needs 2 or 3 strategies. I had a client that I worked with a couple of years ago, and she'd say she was an emotional eater. We used my sort of 3-step process to figure out what the emotion was. And when we got to the strategy section, which is the 3rd step, I asked her, well, what could we do about it? And she gave me one answer, and then I gave her another answer, and then she thought about the 3rd answer. And the more options she had, the better she felt. And she actually made it through that holiday without overeating. She said she portion controlled and she wasn't even hungry. Like she didn't want to eat because she wasn't using food to stuff down her emotions of stress and feeling pressure, because she had multiple options. So I would recommend also, I love that figuring out where danger zone is, because most of us know what they are, and I think most of us don't like having the one option of, well, what are my options? It's like the extreme of, well, I can either just say, screw it, which is what I normally do, or I can say I should stay, 100% on target. Well, what are some other things in between, varying degrees? But danger zone, I love that. Okay, so on top of danger zone for me, because Adam and I are going to go back and forth to share both of our experiences with our clients and personally, I'm going to say that sort of on the same line, maybe yours is more daily practice and thinking about how you live your life, or the conversations you have with yourself about your habits and your patterns. I'm going to go with my number 2, and number 1 for me is sort of the emotional root, right? Of why you eat or why you don't eat or why you don't exercise. And I know that that's a big thing. It's not necessarily a hack, but it is mostly what people aren't looking at, who are on weight loss programs. I would say that the majority of people who I have worked with that have been on multiple weight loss programs have never looked under the hood of the car. All they do is ask questions about what they should eat and how much they should exercise. There's never the question of, why am I eating? Not what are you eating? Why are you eating? Why do you have a bag of potato chips every night before you go to bed? Why are you snacking at night? Do you think it's because it's a bad habit? No, it's because it's an emotional way to suppress your feelings of loneliness or frustration or anxiety, or not process your feelings from the day. So I would say that you have to really look at the emotional piece that underlies all of this in order for you to not, again, backslide or sabotage yourself by overeating or not working out. So, okay. So that's number 2. Adam, what's your number 3?
Number 3, speaking of why, I feel like we need to level up our why behind that goal. First, discover the why behind the goal, but just making sure that if we're going to visualize like Lego blocks, your why behind your goal. So that reason you want to lose 50 pounds, that why behind it, that stack of Lego blocks has to be bigger than the stack of all of the why nots combined. So the excuses like, I don't have time, my knee hurts, my kids keep me so busy, I don't like broccoli, I don't get up at 5:30. I'm like, all those why nots, if they all stack up, the why still has to be there. And even more importantly, if you've been on a weight loss journey before where you've lost weight and gained weight back, you can't bring the same why to the table. You have to level it up if you've regained weight, because then you have that on the why not side, that self-talk of I failed, that sense of perceived failure, already beating ourselves up about it. So we have to bring something even bigger to the table, that second or third or however many times it's been. So be conscious of that why and make sure it's taller than the stack of why nots.
Awesome. I love it. And that's a really good point, because too many people list off and rattle off the excuses of why they can't do it, but they don't have an equal amount of numbers of reasons why they want to do it. And a lot of people, I like the word, instead of should, like replacing should with want, even if you don't really want to. Like if someone says, well, I know I should exercise, instead of saying I should exercise, because that word is terrible. I did a whole show about that word, about the word should and the violence that goes along with should. But I think if people changed it to want, even if you don't want to, you can say, I want to exercise. Feels better, a little more hopeful, a little more energy than to say I should, because most people rebel against things that they should do.
Yep.
So, okay. So my next one is to pick a lane. And what I mean by that is when it comes to, like, let's say food, simplifying your food. I was listening to a couple shows recently and read a couple books about some, the different diets that we all have been exposed to. And even if you switch them every day, even if you're like paleo one day, keto the next day, vegan the next day, like if you pick a lane, you're more likely to succeed because you've got some boundaries. What doesn't work over and over again is to say, I'm going to just have everything in moderation, because what that means is I'm not willing to commit to anything, and I'm not going to track any of it. Not that I don't ask people to like make food logs anymore. I might say, what have you been eating, so I can see what it looks like, but I don't have them do an ongoing food log. But if I know what you're not eating, if I know what you're staying away from, if you understand inflammation, if you know what your body's sensitive to, so that you can avoid those foods because they disrupt your digestion and they cause inflammation, then at least we have some healthier boundaries. And then you can find foods that you want to eat in that genre. So like Swerve sent me a box of their prepackaged stuff to make. And I made the first one, which was a vanilla cake, and I made it into cupcakes. And I'm actually really surprised that it doesn't taste like, because it's a sugar alcohol, doesn't taste like sugar alcohol. So not only is it paleo, it could qualify as keto, almost, depending on if whatever my carbohydrate intake would be for the day. If I'm higher, it absolutely could still fall into a keto diet to have a cupcake, a vanilla cupcake. Okay. So pick a lane, figure out what it is, try something new if something's not working for you. And don't just say generally, well, I believe in everything in moderation. Inflammation doesn't work that way. Inflammation causes cravings. And if you eat a little bit of gluten or a little bit of dairy or a little bit of something that agitates you, you will reactivate cravings, which will then keep you wanting things that you don't normally eat. So pick a lane or try something on. If you don't know what any of these things are, try them. Give yourself 30 days on each one of these different diets and see how your body feels and what works best for you.
Yes. And I love that 30-day mindset too. Like I feel like 30 days, 28 days, like 4 weeks, that's enough time for somebody to see a difference, but it's not intimidating also.
Some people might think it's too long. 2 weeks is what you need as a minimum to release inflammation, but I think 2 weeks is too short to actually really get the impact and the health benefits from making that change. I think it's much more clear. Your system is much more regulated to that certain way of eating in 30 days. And then if you add back in something or you change, you're going to see how your body responds to it in a more accurate way after 30 days. Okay. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that was 5. We're on to number 6, I believe. That's you.
Yes. This is number 5, JJ.
Oh, okay.
I'm counting. Normally I'm not, the expert counter, but.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Sorry.
Number 5. We have to understand where we're at on what I call the transformation timeline. You and I both know that a lot of people out there working really, really hard, but they get frustrated because they're just working hard in circles, So I've defined a 3-phase timeline, and I feel like it's important to know exactly where you stand. So phase 1 is what I call the coachability phase, where you can't pass through that phase if you don't give up control, especially if you're somebody that's really struggling with that back and forth yo-yo. Like, you need to invest in a coaching program or just read a book and just quit trying to be like, oh, I got myself in this mess, I got to get myself out of this mess. That's not really going to work usually with improving your fitness. So that's the first phase. Second phase is we move into what I call the health and lifestyle balance phase. So usually we are out of balance when we are gaining weight or being unhealthy. So the first phase of coachability, we are out of balance, usually towards the healthy side of the equation. We're sacrificing some lifestyle points. So that second phase, we try to rebalance a little bit. And that's where people are like, okay, I can maintain this long term. That's where we achieve that. And then the third phase is super important. We've gone through that weight loss journey. I've helped 15 people in my hometown lose over 100 pounds, and not all of them have kept it off because of this third phase. The third phase is what I call new purpose, new identity. You have to be that new thing that's not the weight loss person anymore. You have to have that new goal, that new fire, that new why that redefines you and keeps you going. And then once we do that, we set new goals like running a 5K or doing a mud run or obstacle course race. We go back through the process because now we need to get coachable again because we're leveling up our goals. And then we have to rebalance again. And then we find new purpose, new identity when we achieve that set of goals. So it's a process that I think people can really, it's tangible. You can see like, okay, that's where I am. I haven't achieved balance yet. I'm in the coachability phase, or I'm in that balancing phase in the middle, or yeah, I'm at the end of my journey. I can find that new purpose, new identity. And that's where I need to be to keep going. So that usually helps people with just understanding where they're at.
That's great. Transformation timeline. Love that, because it does give perspective. And I also have experienced people who, again, it's that they have to get out of the switch mentality of the either I'm on a weight loss program or I'm not, right? And also switching from what I used to call in my 6-week Beachbody program, fat thinking to thin thinking, or from health, from weight loss thinking to health thinking. And it's like identifying as a new person, identifying a new goal, like you said, and not looking at everything from a place of restriction or a place of I have to get to a certain goal. And again, that also connects back to your why and really leveling up your why. It also connects back to the emotions that I mentioned, because why do you even want to lose weight in the first place? What is it about for you? And what results do you think you're going to get when you get there? Because I think that also shifts for people. I had a client once who she got nervous. Well, actually one client, she lost weight and she hit her like upper limit on her comfort zone in losing weight. And then she thought, cause she'd had some sexual abuse in her life. And so she started to cross that line of where now she felt prettier and she felt like she got more attention, and she used her weight to protect herself. And so she wasn't comfortable losing any more weight because she didn't feel safe. So if we don't understand, again, that psychological connection, you're going to keep yourself where you are, because it's really not about the weight. It was about feeling safe. Yeah. So that's great. Transformation timeline is probably a very useful thing for a lot of people if you haven't heard it before. Okay. Now this is number 6. So number 6 is personalized exercise. That like kind of rhymes. Okay. I can't stress enough. I had a client, my very first coaching client actually was probably in I've been here since 2000, maybe 2002. And I thought the whole like coaching was hubbub. Like, I'm like, how can I work with somebody in some place I can't see them? It made no sense to me because I'm so biomechanical focused and so anatomical, because not everyone should be doing the same form. Your form needs to be dictated by your body and not somebody else's body, because everyone's body is different. And so if you have injuries, knee injuries, we're going to program that differently. There's a million ways to do a squat, but there's only one way to do a squat that works for your body. And it isn't going to look like somebody else's necessarily. You have to understand that. So I had this client, she reached out. I was in a magazine I had a transformation with a client who did a TV show. And so they wrote about him in an article in a magazine, and she read the magazine, and she was in Florida, and she called me up and she said, I want you to help me. I've had 2 trainers and I can't break this plateau. And I said, this is before Skype. This is before Zoom. This is before, I had no idea. I didn't make any videos or anything then. I didn't have a YouTube channel, I don't think. And I was like, well, I'll try. I don't know. I'll just do what I do with my clients and we'll do it on the phone. And even just adjusting her cardio, adjusting how she was doing it, giving her a heart rate monitor, looking at the intensity, all of a sudden she had this breakthrough. And she lost weight, in the first couple of weeks, but it really just changed the paradigm of plateauing. It changed it, making it personalized. She understood that it was about reading her body on the inside and not necessarily looking at, am I sweating? Am I tired? What's my time? What does the machine say that I'm doing? So the personalized exercise for joint safety, for true muscle building and lean mass in a safe and effective way that can long-term jack up your metabolism, which is what we want to do. We want to increase your metabolism, and doing it again in a safe way, in a way that, like, my client Maureen, she lost 100 pounds in a couple of years, but she only worked out 2 days a week. And so again, we just tailored her program to her schedule, to what she could do body wise, what made sense, it has to be personalized, in my opinion. I don't think that classes are fine. I get it. It's cheaper, but someone can build you a program and you can do it on your own and just get some advice every so often, every couple of months when you start to plateau. So I think personalized exercise is really another key, because then it keeps you progressing and understanding when you do plateau. So
yeah, and I think on top of that, just the whole mindset of our journey is personal to us, and not to compare ourselves to our friends that lost 25 pounds. Why have I only lost 20 pounds? So that whole mindset of like, my program needs to be personalized. My journey is going to be individual to me as well. So we can't get wrapped up in what everyone else is doing. And, I want to do that program because, Bobby lost 50 pounds on that. Well, it may be the exact wrong program for you. So great tip there, JJ.
Thanks, Adam. All right. Number 7.
I just have to make JJ smile. So 3 things that I see missing from a lot of people that come to me just lost and frustrated. They're trying hard again. So 3 things that I like to plug in no matter what I'm doing from a coaching perspective. We got accountability. We have a sense of community, and implementing a rock solid game plan. All right. So it's not just implementation, it's really rock solid game plan implementation. So we need accountability, as human beings, especially as human beings in the health space, trying to get healthy. We shy away from accountability because we link that up with judgment. And I don't want my trainer judging me. I don't want JJ judging me. I don't want Adam to judge me if I lose weight and gain it back. But accountability, we need to rewire our brain around that word. Think about it as support. It's a safety net. It's mentorship. It's love. It's it's camaraderie. So people like JJ and myself, we're not going to hold you accountable to losing 50 pounds. We're going to hold you accountable to the actions that it will take to show up for yourself, to show up for your goal, to get that goal accomplished. Eating healthily, getting out and moving and sweating and doing it the right way. That's where we're going to hold you accountable. And that's where solid accountability really comes through. So there's the sense of community. You're not in this by yourself. Like, having that crew of people to roll with, whether it's your workout buddy, your spouse, your friends that you walk every, at lunchtime with. But having that sense of we're in this together is a huge deal. There's too many people just isolate themselves. I talked to my friend, Sean Mulroney. He's morbidly obese right now. He's on a journey, but he used to weigh almost 800 pounds. And now he's down to just under 600 pounds. And you talk about a guy that he just came out of a shell. He's like, I'm no longer mentally obese. I'm not hiding this anymore. I'm not in this by myself. And he created a community. And that's called the Obesity Revolution, if you guys want to check that out. And then implementing a rock solid game plan where we have this strategy and we implement. We're not just inspired by what JJ and Adam are talking about. We go, that's a thing that I need to do, and I implement and I take action. And I'm an action taker. I'm not going to sit on the sidelines anymore because I'm worth it. My goals are worth it. And it's time for me to get out there and take action in line with that. So like I said, that's why I do the things that I do. That's why I did, you're involved, JJ, in the new Million Pound Mission University. And that's kind of the mindset I took around that whole thing was, the health space is a little bit confusing right now. There's a lot of people promoting and pushing people in a lot of different directions. And I'm just bringing people in from all different perspectives, from a professor, from a coach and teacher standpoint, bringing all this information into this hub. And then where I really specialize is that community, that accountability, that connection and implementation. So we're doing roundtables every month. So if you learn something from JJ, it's not just going to be inspiring. I'm going to hold your feet to the fire a little bit. Like, all right, what did you learn and what are you doing about it? And you've got that community support around it. So not to go off on a Million Pound Mission.
Well, no, let's make it clear. Well, I think that maybe some people aren't clear. So for those of you that don't know, which I'm guessing a lot of you don't, because I haven't talked about it yet, is that Adam invited me to be a professor in his Million Pound University. So, I know that for both of us, A, our time is limited. B, our fees personally, one-on-one, aren't, they're not cheap. So the average person, it might be a little bit out of your budget. So how do we help you? How do we provide information for you? How do we support you in a real way that doesn't require us to do one-on-one with people? And you also get what you don't get when it's one-on-one is you get, again, that community and support of other people. So Adam created the Million Pound Mission University, and it's just brand new. And it was actually one of the things that I'm talking about in the university is the emotional eating piece. And I'll have to tell you that the video that Adam and I did to launch this university was, I've never said it better. It really was probably the most impactful for me. Like I felt like new things were like I was being channeled, like I was channeling information because like new stuff came out of my mouth in such a clear, concise way. And so if you struggle with emotional eating, you're going to want to get in on this. And it's super affordable, like stupidly affordable to really get all of these things. Sorry, Adam, you may need to increase the price because it's kind of silly. You get into this group and you have access to, like Adam said, all different kinds of people who represent all different kinds of diets, all different kinds of exercise, all different kinds of aspects of the things that we're talking about here. You get that information from them, plus you get the roundtables, plus you get Q&As. And again, you get the support that you're looking for without having to leave your home, without having to go to the gym. Maybe we can even do one, Adam, for me on how to do home-based training. Because I love it. That's another specialty of mine is that people think, well, I have to go to the gym. You don't have to go to the gym. Now, depending on what your goals are, but so many people don't even understand what they have available to them, because all exercise is science and it's just force and motion. So we just need something to resist our motion. And then we understand what motions we're making. So if we understand physics and mechanics, then you don't even have to leave your house. You can just create, with very minimal equipment stuff at home. So anyway, so now that I've caught everyone up to speed, Million Pound Mission University, Adam, tell us a little bit more about how it works, like how they sign up. My link for you guys is jjflazanes.com/university. So again, that's jjflazanes.com/university. And again, super, 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 super affordable to get the support that you need. But what's included?
Well, my business mantra from now on is Adam Schaeuble, stupidly affordable.
Sorry, I meant that as a compliment. I wasn't trying to.
I might even make t-shirts. Stupidly affordable. I love it. So again, like my goal in this was to create clarity because there's so many people that are just so confused by, like, I did a whole podcast episode about overcoming fitness podcast overwhelm because people like you and I are really, really good at what we do. And we get really, really, a lot of fire going in one direction, but people buy into that until they listen to the next podcast episode from somebody else that tells them to do something completely different. And people just come to me spinning their wheels going, should I do intermittent fasting or should I, fast 12 days every out of every 90, or should I do paleo? Should I do Weight Watchers? Should I do CrossFit? I don't know what to do. So what I want to do is just create this hub of clarity where I'm bringing all these experts in where you can truly learn. And it's not like a podcast episode where it's a lot of back and forth. I gave JJ a specific topic. I said, go deep, like a TED talk. I'm just there for window dressing. I want you to do your thing. And she legit, as soon as we got done, everybody, I mean, she was like, I really want to put that out as a podcast episode. I'm like, no, it's only for the university. But it's very deep. It's very specific. There are action steps. There are homework. But then the follow-up happens a couple times a month. I'm doing these roundtable sessions where I'm leading the discussion. I'm going to pull in some of my professors with me. So you never know who's going to pop in with me. Maybe JJ Flize, hey, will be there. I don't know. But we'll, but that's where we connect and that's where we implement. So if you're somebody that does that back and forth, that's confused by everything, this is going to be a different environment. It's not going to be your average like online summit deal. Like nothing against those. Like you can pull a lot of information, but I will hold you accountable. I will support you. I will that's what I'm passionate about doing. And I'm just excited to have people like JJ in there and my friend Rob Dione from the Open Sky Fitness and, Sean Mulroney talking about having an obesity mindset and overcoming that. Dov Barron just lit people up on finding the difference between what motivates you from a pain perspective versus a pleasure perspective, going into the mental game of things. Keto experts like Keto Savage, Robert Sykes, talking about keto body recomposition. Danny Vega's on there talking about creating a fat-fueled family, but just really interesting perspectives. We've got, I think everybody that's speaking is like a top 200 ranked health podcaster. So we've got great content, but now we're taking that content, putting it in front of you, and we're implementing. And that's what's going to make a huge difference.
And it represents all kinds of eating styles too. I know you have Allison in there and to represent like going vegan on a budget. And so you're going to get a well-rounded amount of perspectives and information. And, sort of like what I said in, I don't know what number it was, but pick a lane and try it. And you're not going to know until you try something how it affects your body. And there's plenty of science to back up all of it, unfortunately, because some people are pulling this and that study to support whatever they are promoting. And really when it comes when it comes down to it, it's exhausting for me. I was listening to a podcast today to decide if I wanted to have somebody on my show. And I'm listening to these studies that I'm feeling like, I want to poke holes in them because I'm like, did you look at this? Did you look at this? Did you look at this? And I have to go with my intuition about who I trust and where we've come to. Anyway, but Adam's going to have all of that. And he's going to have the latest and the greatest, as well as the traditional. And you get to try it out and you get to try it out and talk to other people, because sometimes one little shift is all it, like that client I had in Florida, all I did was shift her intensity level on her cardio and had her look at it and track it on a scientific level. And all of a sudden she broke a plateau and started to see some results that she wasn't getting before because she didn't have a way to measure it. And she had misconceptions about it. So just make sure that you check it out, because you're going to go to the website, jjflizanes.com/university, watch the video, just take a look around and see if it's right for you. I would say that, there couldn't be any harm in being a part of this community and having more accountability for next to peanuts. I mean, it's just cheap. Just really here's what I would say. If you're really serious about your health and you don't currently have accountability, if you don't do this, there's something wrong. You're making an excuse for yourself, because really to have accountability for this low of a price. Again, Adam, make those shirts stupidly affordable because it's a no-brainer. If you don't have accountability and you think you would like to change your habits, you have to have accountability. There's just no way. There's no two ways about it. Anytime you move to a new level of life, emotionally, spiritually, physically, you're going somewhere you've never been before. You need someone to hold you accountable to get you there, and who knows what happens between point A and point B, and to get to see everyone else who's on the same journey so that you don't feel isolated and alone. Because if you're doing it by yourself, the likelihood that you'll stick to it, it's less likely. The studies show that people who are successful have accountability, point blank. So check it out, jjflizanes.com/university. Any other last parting thoughts, inspiration, or words of wisdom, Adam?
Well, I love to make up words and terms and things. So one of my special skills is being an accountability buddy. So, if you need an accountability buddy, just say that word. It's accountability buddy. Accountability buddy. I'm the best. I'm the best of the best. But again, I understand what people are going through. Like, I've lost 100 pounds. I've been on that journey. I know how hard it is. So I bring a lot of that realism to the picture, and I'm just excited because I know there are people out there that feel like their transformation journey is kind of like they're driving a car, pedal to the metal, hands are off the wheel, and just whatever happens, but they know they're going somewhere fast and not sure where. Maybe it's bad, maybe it's good. And I just want to help you put your hands back on the steering wheel and feel like you're reclaiming control of the situation a little bit. If I can give that gift to you, then I'm going to be a very happy man.
I think I want to throw in a bonus for my listeners. For anyone that signs up for Million Pound Mission before, well, just in general, because this show will be evergreen. So some of you may be catching this months later. My next event is October 2019. It's the Manifestation Bootcamp. I will throw in a bonus of the Releasing What Weighs You Down 2018 virtual ticket online course, which is valued at $200. When you buy that, I'll throw it in to buy when you get the Manifestation Bootcamp. Okay. If you don't do the bootcamp, but you just sign up for Million Pound Mission, let me know. I will think of another bonus. I need to feel into it. I need to feel what your commitment level is, because I want to be able to reward you. So that's what we'll do. We'll do it on a case-by-case basis. I'll make the offer that off the top, if you come to the boot camp and you've purchased Million Pound Mission, you're going to get Releasing What Weighs You Down for free. And you can start that ASAP right now. Because again, that's going to start hitting some of that emotional piece that we talked about, really releasing all of the habits and patterns and inherited emotional DNA that you've been carrying your whole life that gets in your way and blocks you from success. And then if you don't want to come to the event, but you're going to do Million Pound Mission, email me and let me know. And I'll see what I can hook you up with. I will offer some kind of bonus for you for taking action. So that way you can start getting accountability, because I'm tired of hearing people complain that they don't have any support because they can't afford it. And I'm telling you, when you go look at this, it's everybody can afford this. I don't know anyone that cannot afford this. If you can't afford this, I don't know how you afford the phone that you're using to listen to this podcast on, or to watch, or the video, or the computer that you're watching this video on. Like, it's so affordable. It's not even funny. All right. So check it out. Good. Okay. Adam, you're awesome.
JJ, thank you so much, my friend. I enjoy our friendship. I'm glad that we can support each other in this way. And I just appreciate you so much. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Our goals are very similar. We just want to help people. And, I'm a little harder sell than you are, because I know that people are listening to me. Those of you that are new, you may not like me anymore after today, but for the rest of you that are fans of mine, you understand where it comes from. You understand my heart. You understand that I want your success. I want your freedom. I want you to feel amazing, and I don't want you to continue to limit yourself in any way. So that's why I have no problem hard selling, because it's not about the money. It's about your change, and about saying and putting that in front of you, and really calling BS for those of you that keep talking the talk but don't walk the walk. So, all right, everyone. Well, thanks for joining me, Adam, and stay tuned for more from both of us. Check out jjflazanes.com/university.